Hi, I'm Janet from Chez Les Fleur podcast, where we talk to women that are self-employed, entrepreneurial. They're living the adventure of being a small business owner and doing some amazing things. If you're joining us for the first time, we welcome you. And if you're a return visitor, thank you for coming back. Today, we're going to talk with Tracy Minnema from A River of Yarn, and she's going to tell us about the beautiful business that she has. So, Tracy, welcome. Thank you for being with us today. I know you've got a lot on the go, so I appreciate you taking the time. You own a yarn store.
Yes.
How did you get to that? Have you always owned or been part of the ownership of a yarn store? Is it something that's been passed down in your family, or is this something you've created yourself?
Well, this venture, owning a yarn store, was a long time in the making. So if you go back about 30 some years, I was working in Peterborough at Chex Television, and I was looking for a change. I knew the gentleman who was downtown Peterborough who owned a yarn shop, and he was looking to sell it. So I went to him, got his financials, went to an accountant, and after a lot of deliberation, I was ended up being talked out of buying a yarn shop and investing in the business. So instead, what I did was I went back to school. I got my teaching certificate and I worked for the next 30 years teaching family studies at the secondary level in Brampton, Coburg, and Peterborough. And Peterborough is where I retired from after 24 years of teaching at Adam Scott in the north end of Peterborough. And I retired in 2021 officially, but I started the yarn shop in 2015, knowing that I was coming up to retirement and couldn't just stop working because I had been working since I was 12 years old and I knew I couldn't just stop. So that's where River of Yarn came from. And here we are 10 years later, and we're celebrating 10 years in business.
Wow, good for you. Congratulations. The name A River of Yarn. How did you get to that name?
So we're located on the Trent Severn Waterway, and we're the Otonabee River just north of Hiawatha, or just north of Rice Lake, if you're familiar with the lake system. And so I was trying to come up with a name and stared out my window and went, River, River. So maybe a River of Yarn would be a good name. And so that's where it comes from. It's basically where we're located.
Excellent. Yeah, no, it's very clever. Um, have you seen how have you seen, the knitting, creative craft type businesses? What have you seen how has it evolved in the last, well, 10 years? Or has it? I mean,
Oh, my kitty cat is here saying hello in case you hear noises in the background.
that's good. That's good.
It's just my kitty cat. Anyway, so how has it evolved? Well, of course, 10 years we lived through COVID. So when I started it, it was a kind of in-person studio business only. And I had a little bit of an online presence, but not much. But COVID was a huge stopgap for me because it's a hands-on business. Everything had to go online. It forced me to put all my inventory online. And if you can imagine all these balls of yarn and all the different colors, inventory is a huge thing for me. So not today, 99% of my inventory is online. Um, the e-commerce side of the business, COVID definitely helped that. It has hugely expanded since then. And in fact, it's almost gone the other way. Most of my business comes from online, and I still do shows. I do vendor shows and I teach workshops at different guilds and knitting and fiber festivals all around Ontario, usually between the months of May to October every year. So that part has come back after COVID. Um, but it's still surprisingly for such a tactile business, still a good e-commerce business at
Good.
this point in time.
So tell me what a fabric festival is.
So around Ontario, there's these mini trade shows basically, and you take anybody who's in the business of a yarn shop or a textiles, sells fabric. There's different festivals. For one close to Peterborough, there's one in Fenton Falls. It's in June, always the second weekend in June. And they have over 90 vendors, and
Wow.
they're all small businesses, basically, a lot run by women. And they set up a booth in the arena in Fenton Falls, and they have a 1 day festival where they offer workshops for people to come and learn different techniques. But it's basically like fiber heaven all under one roof for people. So, and they happen all across Ontario. So that one's in Fenton Falls in June. There's one in Bracebridge, which is also in June. Then I go to Kemptville, south of Ottawa in August. There's a big one in Kitchener in September. And then there's one in Hamilton in the end of October.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really good day's adventure because I'm sure you'd see, I'm sure it's all there and you'd see all sorts of beautiful fabric and yarn and thread and oh, it sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
they're well attended. Some of these shows get over 1,000 people come through in 5 hours. So it's like super
wow,
busy for periods of time, and they get their fiber fix in 1 day.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Have you seen an uptick in people looking for a creative outlet and maybe looking to knitting, crocheting, needlework as being that outlet?
Yeah, actually, yes, because any textile art, it really focuses you. And so I think that recently, because people spend so much time on things like this, on a computer, on a screen, whether it's your laptop or your phone, and instead of, wasting all their time scrolling or doom scrolling or whatever you want to call it, people want to have something to show for their time. And so there's been a real focus and a trend towards different textile arts. Probably, I'd say, in the last 5 years since COVID, since we were forced to stay inside and we couldn't do anything, that has really built up the interest. And it's interesting because the interest is there's no age limit. I'm having people as young as, teenagers come and want to learn how to knit and crochet, and people in their 60s and 70s wanting to learn to knit and crochet because they've never done it. So, yeah, there's been a huge increase. And I think it helps too with online platforms like TikTok and Instagram, because that gets the word out there and people put reels on there and then they're like, ooh, that's kind of neat. I could do that. So yeah, I think that helps.
Well, it's interesting because you're also active with Women's Business Network in Peterborough. And I remember one night being at your table and listening to a conversation about a brand of knitting needles and with another member and how smooth those needles were and how they were so much better than the last ones. And I'm like, really? There's different qualities of knitting needles. Did not know that.
Yeah, it's amazing it's like any craft that you do or any art that you do, your tools are important. So if you take the time and you invest in good tools, then you'll get good results. And I mean, you pay more money for good tools, but yes, and there's a lot on the market today too, which is nice. So you have your choice. You're not just forced into those old plastic little things that you used to get when I was a kid anyway. There's lots of materials that these tools are made out of, whether it's bamboo or birch or steel or aluminum. So you have a choice today, which is nice.
Yeah, that was that was very interesting for me listening to that conversation because that's not something I would have known about. I just know knitting needles as being those plastic ones with the plastic loop that loops the
Yeah,
two together and you do a circular sweater and
yeah.
yeah,
Things
so
our tools have gotten a lot better over the years.
Do you think some of the interest in doing a craft or creating something, whether it's knitting, crocheting, is something that people are using as a relief from stress and anxiety?
Oh, absolutely. It's actually been scientifically proven that doing something that with your hands that focuses your attention on one thing is really good for stress and anxiety. Because what it does is it focuses you so much that it calms your mind and it stops you from, overthinking things. It basically helps you forget about your troubles because you're focusing on that one thing. And it certainly helped me through some difficult times in my life. And at the end of it, once you've, focused, and not only is it good for your mind, but you end up with a nice creation at the end of it, which something to be proud of and say, and
Well, and right. I mean, even whether you keep it yourself or you use it as a gift, especially if you use it as a gift and that was your intention in the beginning, then the person receiving it knows that you more than likely thought about them for most of the time that you were working on that
yeah.
because you were working on it for them. And I think that's really what makes it special. What do you say to people thinking about learning how to knit or crochet if they think it's going to be too hard?
Well, what I say is that first of all, get yourself a good teacher. Because if you have the desire to learn and you find that good teacher, you have to give yourself the time and the patience. I find a lot of people don't have enough patience with themselves to learn that new skill. Anything you want to do, it takes time. And if you think about when you were back in elementary school and you had to learn your times tables, how did you learn them? Repetition, repetition, repetition until you knew it and you didn't have to think about it. Well, learning a textile art, whether it's knitting, crochet, quilting, whatever it is, it's basically the same. It's rote learning. You have to practice and practice and practice until you get good at something. And I would say give yourself, invest in yourself, give yourself the time, be patient with yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. And know that with practice, you can learn anything. You just have to have that desire to learn.
Yeah, that's so true. That's good advice. It's good advice with a lot of things. Um, what what is your favorite thing to sell in at a river of yarn?
Um, I would have to say that my favorite thing to sell, I kind of sell ideas. I don't necessarily sell stock. I sell ideas. So a customer will come in and we'll have a conversation and I'll try and figure out what it is that they're wanting to make. And then what I do is I steer them in the right direction for whatever it is they want to make. Not all yarns are created equal. They have specific purposes. Not all fibers are the same. Because I have a background in textiles and clothing, I know a lot about fibers and fabrics, and so I can put them in the right direction and kind of guide their decision making based on their product that they want to have at the end. The other thing I really like to sell are classes because I like to teach. Teaching is my background. I like to do knitting and crochet classes here in person, and as well as a lot more advanced different workshops that I offer. In fact, I'm teaching this Saturday in Cavan at the Bruce Johnson Library, doing thrum mittens. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
those are probably the two things that I like to do the most.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think if I understand correctly, mittens are easier to knit than socks.
Yes, you don't have to turn a heel on so on socks. You
Yes,
have to
yeah,
turn a
that's
heel.
what I look at that and I think, oh, you've knit these socks. And then I look at the heel and I think, how did you do that?
It looks more complicated than it really is. There's a math equation. You follow the math equation, and you just as long as you can knit and you can purl and you can knit two together, you can make socks and you can crochet socks too. They don't have to be
Oh,
knit. They
okay.
can
Didn't
also be
know that.
crocheted.
Beautiful. Do you have a favorite yarn?
Um, Not a favorite yarn as much as a favorite fiber. Merino wool is probably my favorite fiber, and it can be made into various weights of yarn. So depending on the project that I'm making, you can use it for socks, which is very thin, lightweight yarn, or you can have merino spun into a really thick yarn for making hats. But the nice thing about merino yarn is it's not itchy. A lot of people say, oh, I can't wear wool, it's too itchy. Well, that's where merino comes in because it's from the type of sheep. It's been bred to have a lot of that the things that make it itchy bred out of it. And then you can even take it a step further and make it a superwash fiber, and then it will not be itchy at all. So I would say I don't really have a favorite yarn. I have a favorite fiber.
Yeah,
So, and that's
excellent. Yeah,
merino
no,
yarn.
no, I'm a merino wool fan too, and
Yeah,
I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, yeah, I think it's pretty nice. Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty nice. Oh, I thank you for taking time to be with us today. I know you're busy and I know there's a lot on the go. One of the things we like to do at the end of a podcast is I toss out some rapid fire questions so we can learn even more about you. So if that's something you're up for,
Sure.
I'm game to go.
Okay.
Okay. Knit or crochet?
Oh, definitely knit.
Wrap or rock?
Rock.
Ice cream or sherbet?
Ice cream.
Cardigan or pullover?
Oh, cardigan all the way. It's what I have on.
Play or concert?
Concert.
Rock concert.
Of course. There you go. I've been to many down at Crary Park for the music fest.
Yes, yes, that's quite it's it's quite an amazing program that's gone
Hmm.
on for so long, and it's so much, pardon the pun, the fiber of our community.
Hmm. Yeah,
It
it's
weaves us together nicely,
very good.
and the people that attend are like a crazy quilt. A little bit, everybody's different, but everybody loves music. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
very well done. I like those.
I really appreciate you taking time to be with us today. I know that you're busy with your business. I know you're active with Women's Business Network in Peterborough, and we appreciate everything you do there. And always good to chat with you because creating things really is something that attracts everybody to it, because you start with a little bit of nothing and you end up with something amazing. And I appreciate that you facilitate that for a lot of people to be able to create something new and maybe learn something new. And that's terrific.
Well, thanks for having me. I saw recently, I saw a posting on social media, and it was that knitting is the first of the 3D printers. And I thought, that's pretty good. I like that idea.
I like that too.
Taking
Yes.
that
No,
string and then creating something out of it.
yes. Yeah. No, it's so true. Anyway, Tracy, thank you for being with us today. If you're watching Chez Les Fleur for the first time, we welcome you. And if you are returning to watch us over and over again, we really appreciate that you come back to see us. This is where we hear the blood, sweat, and tears of women in business and small business and business in Ontario and shop local and all those great things that people are doing around to help be the fiber of our community. Anyway, Tracy, thank you again. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Okay, thank you
Bye.
very much.